stream. There we go. It's working now. Friggin' there we go. Got there in the end.
There we go. At least we got it before qualifying started.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I just need to figure out how to change the title.
What, are you streaming on Twitch?
No, on TFR's thing on YouTube, which I've never done before.
Oh my days. Yeah, I cannot help you then.
No. It is a bit more complicated.
Yeah, I mean...
Manage. No, cancel. No idea how to change the title. Wow, it is not at all a full grid.
No, nowhere near. We've only got half the drivers, and I think I'll pull up the app just to see the drivers' positions. I think second is guaranteed from.
Well, I believe based on the standings, Red Bull with a convincing lead. So I believe they will be taking the constructors, and I'm a D. Convincing lead in the drivers as well. So looking good for them. Not a whole lot to worry about coming to the final race here at Brazil. Weather conditions, I believe, were looking wet. But we'll confirm that shortly. So we've got cloudy for qualifying, followed by cloudy and ending in a wet race. So that is the way it's going to be playing out this evening. Will be overcast for qualifying and dry but cloudy for the race, ending off with wet. Should be quite an interesting one for Brazil. Never ideal when you're in the wets. Slight technical issues as we wait for potentially a few more drivers to join from Tier 2, just to fill up the grid a little bit and keep things exciting. We've got Hyperghost, who just raced Brazil in Tier 2 and had some immense pace on him.
Ah, found it. I found where you can change the name. Jesus.
CJ said he was looking into it.
Yeah, you go to. So, are you on YouTube Studio? Is that where you're going live from?
Yeah.
So, if you go to Manage, and there should just be something called Edit Title and Description.
Yeah, it says the stream can be accessed again for the managed list, exiting or not, and the stream. Okay.
Oh, ready up. Finally time to start qualifying. With Harmony. Days.
Alrighty, as we get ready to load up into qualifying, a bit of a shallow grid this evening. Not too many drivers. I believe the final count ended up around 11 drivers. Once again, the weather report for today is going to be overcast for qualifying, followed by overcast through to thunderstorms for the end of the main race. So 13 drivers. We've got a few reserves in from the second lead.
Yes, I think it's just the V-Carbs. Oh, the reserves. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I think that's. Oh no, Codomatic. He's just.
Sauber did pretty well in F2. So, nope, we got another one just joined up.
I can't even see. It's Gene. I think he's
Jean-Claude with the Kick Sauber. So, first out is going to be the two V-Carbs and the Red Bull of Imadim, who is currently looking like he's going to be the league champion. But Hyperghost is going to be the first out. His teammate this evening, Haribo Man. So as both drivers make their way over towards Sector 2 on their outlet, not really leaving a lot of room there. Wonder if that'll impact their qualifying. Hyperghost slowing down a little bit to give a bit of space, let Haribo get his run in to begin with. So quite a few drivers out on track this evening. Obviously, Mo Solver has an engine penalty this evening. So we'll go on board with Haribo Man making his way over towards the start-finish line. So making his way through the second sector over towards the third now. Yes, Mike, we had some difficulties with changing the title, unfortunately. So hopefully that's been updated now. Fingers crossed. We'll just take a little squeezazzle. And we've got Haribo Man setting his first time with a 108.8. Not a slow time. But will his teammate have him beat? He does. Hyperghost goes 108.3. Half a tenth separates the two teammates.
Whoa. Say a lot from MD. Jeez.
It should still be live. I hope. Alright, so I'm a D, current champion. By quite some margin, going with a 107.668. Just behind him, Kizzy with a 107.8. And Wes coming in just behind his teammate. A little bit over a tenth slower. Could see improvement on the coming laps. So, Kodamatic making his way through the final turn now. Over to the straight, which is not quite straight. What kind of time could we potentially see from the Kick Sauber drive? It's a 109.3, which is a little bit off the pace of P7 and 8, but surely going to be seeing an improvement on his next outing. Poo Lee in the McLaren next to come in with a 107.097. So could see a really glorious battle between the Aston Martin of Finley, Poo Lee, and Cam F1, all showing very similar times in quali. Could make for an interesting pack to race amongst in the main race. So yet to set a time is Seb, CJ, Epic, Phantom Fox, about to cross the line to throw his gauntlet down. And coming in with a 108.3. Alright, we'll try and see.
B29 now in.
Ooh, say again, sorry, Alfie.
The B29 is now in. We've got, I think that's all of our drivers now.
B29 in the Aston Martin. His teammate currently sitting P4. And it looks like B29 very eager to get going. He might be on an outlap currently. No, that is Finley B29. Obviously going to be getting his setup on before making an attempt. And Jean-Claude coming into a P3. Setting a cat amongst the pigeons between the two Mercedes drivers there. So Cooley has invalidated his attempt. Ooh, as Phantom Fox touches the grass into turn one. Not really something you want to be doing. He is improving, but by how much? That is the question. And will it be enough to see him jump up, possibly split the two McLaren drivers, currently around 6-7? Mike in the chat says he's set a 107.7 in the league he's racing in. And he's 6th. That would have been very close to pole here this evening. So, Phantom Fox unable to edge out either of the two McLarens so far. Surely we'll see another attempt from him shortly. Jean-Claude has retired from the session. Must not feel he can do much better. And we've got I'm a D, showing us that a Red Bull can in fact be a lawnmower coming into the final turn. So we'll go on board with Kizzy, who's just started a lap now, coming out of turn 2 into the first DRS zone. Absolutely mind-boggling as Finley setting 107.458. A blistering 0.2 quicker than I'm a D. But one has Kizzy got in the tank. He has not improved. He is pretty much on the same time that he was on before. Down by about 1.5 100ths. But can he have a huge Sector 3? As he's dumping all the battery to the line, but the fact that he's still got a bit left in the tank. Slight improvement, but will not be enough. As Seb in the Williams coming in with a 107.582 to pick up P2. He will be on the start of the front row at the start of the race if nobody else improves. So Kizzy had an attempt. B29. One of the last two joined this evening in the Aston Martin, managing to split the two McLarens up with a 108.070. As he's going to be coming in after this lap. Hu Lee has a little bit of traffic amongst the V-carbs there. And he'll be looking to make any kind of improvement. As little as a 10th and change could see him hop up all the way to P7. If he can find 0.2, it could see him hop up to P5. So we'll try and see what the split time is as we make our way to the end of Sector 2. He is up by a gargantuan 0.6, looking very strong rounding the final corner. Now onto the main straight. Oh, he's run out of battery a little bit early, but still up by 0.6 to claim P2. As Pooley coming in with 107.474, just a hair behind the current pole sitter Finley. And around a 10th quicker than current P3 Seb. But Imad now on his hot lap, making his way through Sector 2. Needs to dig deep, needs to find a little bit over 0.2 to claim pole. There's got to be a reason he's on top of the scoreboard. And can he show us why? Jean-Claude in the chat says, my car exploded on the turn 1 wall. Oh, that is painful. As we've seen him drop from P3 all the way down to P8. I'm a D. 1/1000th quicker than Finley to snatch pole from the Aston Martin driver. So can we see any kind of improvement from any of the drivers? CJ appears to be on his hot lap, making his way through the second sector. And where can we see him go, as he will be the last driver to set a time. Not really leaving a lot of time for second and third attempts. As he's now using all the ERS that he has. And comes in with a 109.037. Not a strong attempt from CJ. Surely going to see him dime to the pits, get some fresh boots on, and go for a second attempt. Finley now on his hot lap. Just started through the second sector. Up by just shy of a 10th. Does not need much of an improvement to knock I'm a D off of the pole. He is up by just shy of a tenth. He's improved ever so slightly through the second sector. But it could all be won or lost here in the third. And he's coming into the pits. Quite strange. I thought he was up. Apparently not. Only car on the track is P29 going with 107.6 to claim P5. And he is in the mix, just a hair quicker than the Ferrari of Epic the Animal. Phantom Fox now on a hot lap, slightly slower than his previous attempt. If he's going to improve, it will be through the second sector. Make his way through the final corner now. As he is absolutely dumping all the RS that he has. And only a very slight improvement. Which will not be enough to get ahead of Cam F1 in the McLaren. Quite a few drivers on an outlap, which will surely be their final attempts. We've got Hyperghost, currently sits P8. Only needs about half a tenth to claim P7 from Kizzy. We've also got Cam F1. Making his way through the first two turns now. And invalidates. That is heartbreaking for the McLaren driver, as that may have been his final opportunity for an attempt. Hyper goes now through the first two turns. And will he have any kind of improvement? He's up by just shy of half a tenth, which would net him P7. And can he find any more time through the second and third sectors? Making his way over to the final straight now. What kind of improvement could we see from Hyperghost? As he does not improve, down by just shy of half, or a little bit over half a tenth. Cam F1 currently on his attempt. We'll keep an eye out for those near the top. We do have Seb on an attempt. We might just need to check him out quickly. In the Williams. He is up by a tenth and a half. If he keeps that kind of improvement on his Delta, could see him take pole in that Williams. No teammate for Seb this evening. One-man army. As he makes his way through to the final corner, he's up by 4 tenths. This could be absolutely gargantuan from the Williams driver. absolutely astronomical. Unfortunately, won't be enough from Imad coming in a few tenths behind. Hooley has invalidated his final attempt. B29 now is aborting his run, unfortunately. Epic the Animal is down by just shy of a tenth. I don't see that improving before the line, and he does, ever so slightly. But not enough to get ahead of Wes. So Hooley, who had invalidated, and that will round off the qualifying session this evening, ladies and gentlemen. That will be your grid. Seb in the Williams, followed by Amity in the Red Bull, Finley in the Aston Martin, Hooley and his teammate Cam F1 4th and 5th respectively, B29 in P6, Wes in P7, Epic the Animal in P8, Kizzy in P9, Phantom Fox in the Alpine in P10, Hyper Ghost, guest driver from Tier 2 this evening in the V car, will be starting P11, Jean-Claude, who had an unfortunate run-in with the wall on turn 1, will be starting from P11. P12, my apologies. Haribo Man also coming up from Tier 2, as well as Codematic, P13 and 14 respectively. CJ will be starting in P15, and Mosolver, or Motosolver, who had the quali ban, will be starting at the back of the grid in the Scuderia Ferrari in P16. So, LP, what did you make of the qualifying session?
Well, very nice, very close. Like, I think CJ got really unlucky there because, of course, he's had to release the standings and everything, so he's had less laps than everybody else putting in, which I feel made him a bit unlucky with his qualifying.
That is unfortunate, but starting at the back means you are open for the opportunity to gain most overtakes in the race.
Exactly. You can only go up if you start at the back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Starting at the front means all the pressure's on you and you've got everything to lose. So, should be a good race. A few of the drivers up at the front, pretty narrow on time split with the exception of the current pole sitter, who was Seb in the Williams, coming in 3/10 quicker than P2 and 3. I believe in the middle of the pack, we've got a few drivers very close together on time, so we should be in for a real treat. Loads of battles throughout, and strategy will definitely play a factor with that late rain coming in towards the end of the race.
I'm looking now, we've got 3 drivers going onto mediums. We've got Hariboman, Imad, and Cam F1 all starting on the mediums. Then they're all starting on the mediums for this race. No, we've also got CJ on the mediums. I don't know if that's the right plan, especially with the rain coming so late.
Yeah, I could see the tires degrade beyond being able to be saved. Unless they're banking on the rain possibly coming in a little bit earlier than predicted.
Yeah.
At which point they may have to box early, and we could see them burn out potentially the intermediate tires if that's their tire of choice. Could see them burn those out before they even get the chance to get the benefit of that wet tire of the intermediate.
Speaking of that now, oh, 5 red lights, my bad.
And with that 5 red lights, they are out, and we are getting ready to go. We're going on board with Imad going into turn 1 now, as Imad and Seb getting away from the pack. And nice and clean through turn 1. Nobody's made contact by the looks of it, so looking pretty clean. And we've got a V-car of Hyperghost by the looks of it, who has lost a lot of places. There's an Alpine trailing towards the rear as well. A little bit of contact between the Aston and the McLaren there, Finley, and I believe it was Cam F1. So we got Motosolver, who's working his way up the pack halfway through the first lap, already up 5 places, and he was battling with his teammate Epic the Animal. So there are the potential strategies for this race: medium, hard, or medium, medium, soft, soft, or hard, medium, medium. But we know there's rain coming, so that is not the ideal strategy, as Jean-Claude and Phantom Fox go at it, and Phantom Fox making contact with Motu Solver and almost losing it, but managing to stay on the track, now splitting up the two Ferraris. So back on board with the race leaders. Imad has the run on Seb, as they are going to not be going side by side, as Imad getting the pass nice and clean, but Seb getting fastest lap. So I think that's where the battle's going to be, and Finley with an absolute treat. Front row seat to the battle that is ensuing between the Williams and the Red Bull. So nice tight pack, with the only real gap to note. Codematic P14 seems to be losing the rear end of Haribo Man in the B car, but has closed that gap now. So one long DRS train for the time being. And Imad did look like an absolute rocket ship on that back straight. So it'll be interesting to see whether Seb has the legs with DRS, as Seb has more ERS to play with. It seems to be catching, as that wing's now open, as they make their way across the start-finish line. Seb making a late move, well, not really a late move, but a move for the inside as they go side by side into turn one. Slight lock-up from Seb, but he gets the pass done through to turn two. Everybody else managing to keep it clean. Nice little battle between Seb and Imad going on here. The Williams and the Red Bull. Something you'd never see in real life, despite the quality of driver that Carlos Sainz is. Yet to see a Williams and a Red Bull battle in the current season. Could still happen. So Motu Solver now up to P9 on lap 3, as he's going side by side with Jean-Claude, and he's managed to not lose it, but has gone off the track, costing him 3 positions, as he's now dropped down to P12. Codematic receives a 3-second warning for track limits, as we've got a gap now. Haribo Man falling just behind the 2 Ferraris. So Haribo Man, the fastest of the rear runners. And back over to Imad. We'll be looking to get past Seb. Unsure if they're working together to try and pull a gap to P3, but there is a gap to P4, and whether or not this pack manages to get it done, is we've got a bit of contact between the Aston Martin and the McLaren, with the Mercedes of Kizzy getting to watch that firsthand with a little bit of contact there. So Finley dropping down to P5 now. Pooley and Cam up to positions 3 and 4 respectively. Finley now almost gets past Kizzy, but Kizzy gets the run out of the corner as Finley ran wide as they go side by side through sector 2. A little bit of wheel banging there. Both drivers managing to keep it on track. Really, really intense battles from the 2 drivers there, as we've got Wes, who was trying to sneak a little peek around the inside of Kizzy. We've got B29, who's hoping to catch up to his teammate, as both Mercedes drivers currently in an Aston Martin sandwich. So back over to the race leaders, we will surely see Seb get the pass on Imad. Imad not really burning ERS to let that happen. They seem to be DRS swapping, possibly to try and pull a gap, but it doesn't seem to be working, as the battles into the corners not doing them any favors. Seb's still getting ahead. Then we've got Cam F1, who could be looking to try and get a free pass here as well. Not a lot of ERS to play with, as we see Imad getting back past Seb now through into the second sector. And Cam F1, a real lifeline to his teammate Poo Lee. So that gap right around P13 has grown ever larger, up to 1.7 seconds to P12. Could potentially see a move from Finley here on Cooley to split up the McLarens. And could potentially see Wes try and make a pass on his teammate. So Seb unable to have the legs to get a pass on that main straight, but surely going to be looking for a pass on the back straight. Haribo Man gets passed by Codematic. Reminder, he does have that 3-second penalty for track limits. And Seb, once again, not having the legs to get ahead of D, but might just be trying to settle into a rhythm, not take any silly chances. Could see Motu Solver currently in P10, up 6 positions from where he started, and did make his way over to P9, but a little scuffle with Jean-Claude meant that he left the track. He is on the hard tire, which I do believe is going to be the better tire of the two. We've got Wes and B29 now through the second sector, going side by side, a little bit of battling. Wes managing to stay ahead, but B29 surely going to be fighting on the main straight. Can see a lot more passes as those gaps grow and shrink throughout the lap. Back over to the race leaders. We've got Seb trying to get the legs. I think he might have the pace for it this time. Needs to lunge if he's going to do it. Nope, he backs out. Could see him try and make a move in the second, or rather the first DRS zone here on lap 7. Those clouds looking quite dark at the moment, and that rain will be imminent. So it seems after the early laps, with all the aggression and action, most of the drivers seem to have settled into a normal pace now. And I believe this is going to be the moment of the race where risky moves will be few and far between, but a lot more exciting when they do happen. So Motu Solver now looking to try and make a move on Jean-Claude. Seems to have the run, opting to try and take the outside line. Oh, and Jean-Claude with a slight error, running wide out of turn 1, which Motu Solver all too happy to take that position from. Epic the Animal now looking to try and follow his teammate as Jean-Claude opting to take the inside line. Ooh, that is not ideal. Kind of got squeezed onto the grass, did Epic the Animal. So that's 2 run-ins with the Ferraris. Is Jean-Claude. Could potentially be something for the stewards to have a look at after the race. So gap near the end now as we've got Codematic getting ahead of Hyperghost. And Hyperghost looking very keen to have that P13 back from Codematic. And it looks like the race leaders are starting to run away with it as Cam F1 now falling out of DRS to the race leaders. And Cam F1 could be looking for an undercut now, as he's the first driver in the pit along with Jean-Claude. I don't believe either driver has damage. And what tires are waiting for them? It looks like a hard tire for the McLaren and a hard tire for the Sauber. Interesting choices. Obviously the front runners all on the hard tire, and those towards the rear of the grid opted for the mediums, which may not have been the right call, as the rain surely going to be a few laps away. So Cam F1, who was in P3, now needs to fight to try and return. We'll be hoping for a safety car, as we've got CJ in the pit now as well. Haribo Man, the second offender for track limits penalties. So Seb with a generous amount of ERS. Could we see him make a move this time around? I'm a D using his DRS as well. Seb looking like he's carrying quite a lot of speed. Might need to contest for the inside. Nope, has a little sniff, but backs out last minute. And Finley hot on the rear of Pooley, and just behind him, the two Mercedes drivers eagerly awaiting any kind of mistakes from the McLaren and the Aston Martin ahead. All too keen to try and make up those positions, as we've got Wes, who was looking to make a little move around the outside of Finley, but it's cost him a few tenths. But he is making up that ground quite rapidly at the cost of his ERS. But still looking quite healthy. Pooley leading this little train, currently sits P3. But we'll need a perfect blend of racecraft, strategy, and luck in order to retain it. As we've got Wes and Finley going side by side, a little bit of wheel banging out there. And Finley has lost the rear with contact from the second Mercedes, Kizzy. And Finley's going to be falling all the way down to P9 Hyperghost. Not too far behind, could close that gap. And that is Finley. And his chance is pretty much done, unfortunately. But Wes now almost out of DRS range to Pooley as his teammate, as well as a Ferrari. Well, both Ferraris just behind him as he's leading this little train. But Pooley will be desperately trying to shake the DRS train that is lurking behind him to retain that P3. And Finley will have to fight tooth and nail to make his way back towards where his teammate currently is. And all drivers now on the hard tire. A few on fresh hards and others on 10-lap-old hards. So just an honorable mention to Motu Solver, currently sits P6. Make that P5 as he's looking to make a move down the inside of Wes. Doesn't get the launch that he wanted. Back to P6. Could see him potentially make a move down the straight. Also, my apologies, it was Kizzy, not Wes. So he's got an absolute run on Kizzy as he gets that wing open. Now crossing the start-finish line. Has managed to get ahead of Kizzy. Kizzy could be looking for a lunge. Nope, comes back onto the racing line and decides to play it safe. So Cam F1, the third victim to track limits penalties. And Finley, you've got to be wondering like what's going through his mind. Is that 3.5 second gap doing him no favors to his teammate B29? Although I will say we've got a beautiful DRS train from P3 all the way down to P8. Not something you see every day. You know, I always feel bad when I do commentary, and I want to focus on where the action actually is. Like Epic Animal now, going side by side. No, Motu Solver going side by side with Wes getting ahead before turn 1. I always feel bad because obviously the race leaders would love to be on the stream, but when the action is just behind them, I kind of have to go where the action is. Motu Solver's worked his way through the pack. Now could be sniffing at a P3, and if he gets the strategy just right, could even see him contest for a win. So Pooley surely must be feeling a bit nervous. The driver who started in P16 is now up to P4. A little bit of contact from Wes on the rear of Motu Solver. Not enough to affect the Ferrari driver though. So if you have Pooley seeing a driver come up 12 places and is now on your exhaust pipe, you must feel nervous, surely. Motu Solver leaving his teammate and the Mercedes driver towards the rear. the animal carrying a little bit more speed than the Mercedes driver, but B29 with a 10-second penalty, speeding in the pit lane, not something you really want to see. Easily done in Brazil though, but Motu Solver could have the run on Puli. Puli with way more ERS, just able to continue to pull away. So Codematic conceding a position to Cam F1 on the hard tire, who I might add has actually had a pit stop already and is currently sitting P10. Will definitely need to pit again once the track gets a little bit wet. Imadi is still leading us in the race, currently P1. Seb sitting comfortably in P2, could see a late move or potentially an undercut on the pit to gain that P1 position from Imadi. Motu Solver now seems to be carrying significantly more speed before the DRS flap even opens. He's opting for the outside line, forcing Puli to the inside line. A little bit of contact from the McLaren, might have been squeezed a little bit. That'll be one for the stewards to take a look at, as we've got 3 cars now all vying for that P3 position. And a couple more drivers into the pit, Finley and Kizzy. And finally, Motu Solver going side by side with the McLaren again. Runs wide, unfortunately. May need to give that position back. Still side by side. A little bit of wheel banging through the second sector. Both drivers with no ERS and contact. And through go both the Ferrari. Oh no. Nope. Epic did not make it through. But Wes was able to sneak on through. Motu Solver still going to stay ahead of his teammate. Epic the animal, but Puli, the outcome not favorable for him, as he's now just outside of DRS range of the drivers ahead of him. And Wes needs to try and fight tooth and nail to hang on to that P3. Currently has Motu Solver back. He is relentless. Still gunning for that P3 spot. And Wes going to be coming into the pit this lap. Motu Solver opting to stay out a little bit longer. And Wes picking up a 10-second penalty. That's the second driver to do so. Easily done. Like I said, easily done here at Brazil. So Cam F1 up to P5 now. Has already had a pit stop. So Seb and Imadi with a slight exchange coming out of the second DRS zone, first DRS zone into the second sector.
All drivers now with at least a 10-second penalty. That's not what you want to see, especially in this F1 race.
No, not at all, but it is easily done. That pit lane can be very tricky.
Yeah, especially with the uphill of Brazil, it's always unpredictable speed. You can never tell.
Although with all the pit stops that have happened now, it's definitely opened up the field a little bit. So racing is going to be less exciting this time around, or for now, as the closest gaps to follow is Wes to his teammate Kizzy, and then the front runners Seb and Imadi. Phantom Fox with the run on Codematic through to turn 1 is able to get back onto the racing line before the braking zone. Nice and clean pass from the Alpine driver. B29 will be looking to follow suit. So the only drivers yet to stop, Imadi, Seb, Motu Solver, and Codematic yet to pit stop. Finley picking up his first penalty for track limits. And B29 getting ahead of Codematic ahead of the final corner.
Motu Silva now in the pits. Gee. Only drivers not to be now is Seb and Amity. They must be saving their tyres really well.
So he has opted for the medium tire. That should get him to where the rain is. I thought the rain would have possibly come in by now. Oh, it might be in the next 6 laps.
Whoa! Motu Silva and Finn. Oh no.
And Finn with front wing damage. Has Motu Silva come out of that with damage? He has not. So just having an absolute mare. Finley, who's just not his day today at all.
No.
Is he gonna...
2 incidents now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead, Alfie.
That's 2 incidents now, and I'd say this one was probably his fault, but that first spin, that's just really unlucky for him. He's lost the rear, and then Wes's little tap just spins him even worse. It's not been a good race for him.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. Now, is he going to decide to stay out on that broken wing, or is he going to come into the pits?
Oh.
He's staying out. Brave move. That does not look like an insignificant amount of wing damage either. We've got some action happening here with B29 and Wes as B29 goes wide. This little pack of 4 reunited. Kizzy, B29, Wes, and Phantom Fox going to be leading that pack of 4. Could potentially see Motu Silva get ahead of Hu Li in the next few laps. And both drivers may even chase down the Mercedes of Kizzy. And we'll be back to having a lovely long DRS train. So side by side they go into turn 1. It looks like Wes is going to get the upper hand. The door was closed on B29, so unable to make a move there. So Wes now needs to try and fend off Phantom Fox. And does just that. So Phantom Fox now has B29 knocking on his door. But B29 also needs to remember to defend from Kizzy, who's looking quite a bit quicker through the second sector. We've got Kizzy, who could potentially make a move, but I don't think he's got the legs for it. Neither does B29 as we stay in the current positions through turn 1. We've got a yellow flag for, I think that was Codematic might have come off.
Got a puncture. Codemac's got a rear right puncture. Oh, it's not what you want to see.
No,
He comes into this now.
He is the only driver besides the race leaders who have yet to pit. Just outside of the rain window. Will we see him go onto the intermediate tires? Or is he going to go for a slick compound? Yeah. He's going for the medium.
My question is now, how are these leaders protecting their tyres? If Codematic's got a puncture, how long it's going to be till both the front 2 pit?
I think these guys are just in a league of their own. I think they've probably got 3 laps before one of them gets a puncture. I do think they'll probably pit for the intermediates at that point. I don't think either driver is really going to be pushing too hard. They've got 7 seconds of gap to the McLaren behind. And I think the move's just going to be to try and wait out the rain, get the intermediate tire. So we will keep an eye on the cockpit views for any kind of rain droplets we might potentially see, as it should be coming in any lap now. Oh, Motu Solver has lost time to Wes somehow, and Wes and Jean-Claude have caught up to Cam F1, vying for that P3 spot. Oh, and Cam on those, is he on fresh hards? Fresh-ish hards. No, those are old, 13 laps. Certainly fresher than the race leaders, as he's made up around 3 seconds in 1 lap. So surely we should see the race leaders pit in the next lap or so. It is just such a gamble, stretching the tires for this long. And you've got that McLaren making up significant time. So if the rain starts now, they've done it beautifully. But if their luck's anything like mine, it'll happen right after they pass the pit lane entry. It'll start raining. It started raining. There we go. They'll be pitting for inters this lap for sure. So they've managed to wait out the rain with only the 3rd sector to get through. We should surely see all drivers pit this lap. Anybody staying out would be silly. And it is heartbreak for Codematic, who's only on 2-lap-old medians, who now needs to make a 2nd pit stop. And we should surely see the race leaders come into the pits, as Imad coming into the pits, and Seb trying to go for an overcut here. Whether or not that'll work out for him remains to be seen. I think he might be stretching the life of these tires a little bit too far, and that track is going to get slippery very quick as we see him coming out of turn 2, almost losing the rear end twice. Those hards will be completely gone. I don't think that this is the move on the hard tires staying out. Quite a few drivers staying out, actually. Cam F1, Jean-Claude, Wes, all staying out. I suppose that could potentially have been to avoid double stacking. I just don't think
It's not been good for Haribo. Sorry.
No, it has not. I'm struggling to understand why somebody would stay out on the slicks when it started raining.
I think they're just praying that the rain doesn't affect the track, and either their tyres will overheat, or they'll just have better grip coming into this lap, so they get pretty much just an easy overcut. It's what I'm guessing their mind's going through.
I don't know. We saw coming out of the first 2 turns, and now again on the last turn, Seb does not have a lot of grip on the rear, and the drivers behind have caught up to him. Jean-Claude has gone off the track. He's cut the grass and taken out one of the boards. Now, if this was the F1 movie, that would be a safety car. Ooh, pit lane penalty for Seb.
Oh,
The overcut. Oh, heartbreak. And that's the traction on those hard tires. That's just not doing him any favors. The lack of traction. So, there goes Imad getting way clear of Seb. And Seb will obviously picking up that 10-second penalty on top of it, just to add insult to injury. But Imad now with a comfortable lead. And we've got yellow for Haribo Man, who's come off in Sector 2.
Same place where he did it in the F2 race. Caught the edge of the... I'm guessing he caught the edge of the grass, just lost the race. He did it in the F2 race, almost spun then.
I almost spun in the F2 race as well. That grass there is so tricky because there's not a lot of room for error if you touch the grass under braking. Oh, it's so risky, and it's actually better to brake early and make sure you're safe through there.
As Haribo Man's not coming to the pits. Oh,
He might be retiring, I think. Yeah, he's retired.
yeah.
So Imad currently 4.5 seconds clear of Motu Solver, who's done an incredible drive, P16 to P2. He needs to fight off Seb, who does have that 10-second. So, I don't know. I think that could be the podium right there is Motu Solver, Imad, potentially Poo Lee. could be looking at your 1, 2s, and 3s. And has DRS been disabled yet?
Yeah, DRS got disabled as the IMD went into the pits.
Ah, I must have missed that. Good to hear you commentating again, Scones. Yeah, I do it here and there for a couple of weeks. Not as into it as I used to be, though. D and said crash stamp it. No, that has not happened. But Sab tried to do an overcut and it has not worked out for him in the slightest. The Inters overheat quickly. Brazil pit entry is lethal. 100%. 100%. In another league, I saw Mike lose the championship over a pit lane penalty. So he knows all too well that the pit lane is absolutely vicious and it does not discriminate. Okay, we've got a nice little battle between Finley and Codematic, but Finley going to be coming in on top. Codematic now still going side by side into the corner. Has the run. Needs to take the outside line. Could be looking for a switchback. Oh, doesn't get the exit that he was hoping for, but still going to be falling in just behind Finley, losing the rear end, goes wide off the track. So another unfortunate person is Codematic, who's not had luck at all. Had the puncture 2 laps later. The rain came in. It almost makes you wonder if he might have been better off Hyper Ghost into the pits. And he's retired.
Oh, he's retiring as well. Oh.
P10 was not a bad position. He could have potentially fought it. I don't think he even had damage.
No, he just had a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits. Very surprising.
But he was coming in to retire though. Is that where the penalty came
Yeah,
from?
exactly. He got the penalty when they was pit for Inters. When they were pit for Inters, he lost him.
I suppose he was one of the drivers that stayed out on the slicks, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Cyberman, he got 2 10-seconds in a row after his first 2 pit stops. So going in to switch from those mediums to hards, and then again going into when it became these wet conditions, I think that's why he is retired in the first place.
So all the drivers looking to not be having a fun time. Grip is a myth. They're reminiscing of the days when they used to be able to exit a corner without losing the rear end. And we got Sport Cards, Brass Trains, Video Games. Epic Animals Fall-Off should be studied. Currently sits P9, was alongside his teammate at one point. Now trails significantly. We've got Phantom Fox getting ahead of Jean-Claude out of the first 2 turns. Can he hold it? I think he can. ERS looking pretty even. And Jean-Claude does not look like he's going to be able to catch him. And I think with the weather the way it is, it literally just comes down to who's going to be the most consistent and the fewest mistakes. Because all it takes is one patch of grass under braking, one flick of the throttle at the wrong moment, and you are gone. But with around 8 laps left to go, could we potentially see Motusol catch up to Imad? Current gap is around 3 seconds. Closest battles currently is Hizzy to B29 and Epic the Animal to Wes. So, oh, and Poo Lee could be getting in the mix with Seb. Epic the Animal taking the inside line. Now across the start-finish line. Could we see a late lunge from Wes? Nope, he's going to fall in. Locks up slightly into turn 1. Managing to keep it composed now. And Epic the Animal is going to be able to get through. So Poo Lee just barely trailing Seb. Possibly waiting for just a single mistake. And both McLarens not far away from each other. Interesting strategy from them though to go for alternating liveries. And Wes with a 3-second penalty. Which, oh, B29 must have come off. There's a 6-second gap there now. No, he was battling Epic the Animal. Silly me. B29, if he keeps it consistent, could catch up and potentially gain that P9 position. But with only 7 laps left to go, everything's looking fairly consistent. Too late in the race for a safety car. But Lee trying desperately to catch up to Seb. Ooh, Seb running wide out of turn 1. Really potentially smelling blood in the water as he's closing up that gap to around 4/10. Ah, it's Kevin Cal. See, you've got different usernames everywhere, man. I never recognize you. Show tires. I think everybody's around the same tire age, so 5 to 6 laps, and everybody's on inters. Phantom Fox is a Rainmeister. How his on board? I don't know. He actually looks like he's running it pretty smooth. 2.5 seconds a gap to Cam though, which puts him around 4 to 5 seconds from P3. And you know what? Motu Sol has closed that gap to around 2.5 seconds, so he is closing around a second every 4 laps. So I don't think it'll be enough unless we see a huge mistake from Imad. There's barely even a chance for any kind of dry line to form with how heavy the rain is.
Another incident, Finley, I think either Finley spun or he's made contact and then spun. It's not been a good race for him. Not what you want to see.
Currently trails 8 seconds to Codematic. And I think it's probably partially due to him not getting that wing fixed. The rain's already not going to be feeling great, and then you add on the lack of downforce on the front. This must be painful for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah.
Alright, so just to note, the closest gaps, B29 and Kizzy, and then we've got the 2 McLarens who could potentially get into the mix with the Williams driver in P3.
Oh, CJ's gone to pit for the wet. I guess he didn't think this were adequate.
I don't think the inters are adequate. He should still come in ahead of Finley. Finley pitting as
He's
well.
going to the pits now.
Possibly
He's not retiring.
No? Oh.
Oh, I think he wants the point. You see Louis just now lapping Finn while he's in the pits.
So he won't even get to finish the final lap, unfortunately. Oh, and Finley,
no, Finn has retired.
He has just retired in the pits. It has not been his day at all. So we'll see if CJ is able to catch up to Codematic.
Oh, it's Gene. Oh, Gene's almost just lost it then. It's just left Epic Daniel.
And
Like, gained so much space on him. Oh.
Finley's car is currently still driving the track. I imagine that might
Yeah,
have
what's
set a
happening
few.
with that? There you go, he's going off track now, there we go. Look at the gap between Motu Solver and Imad. It's just under a second now.
Could see a very late surge from Motu Solver as we head over towards the start-finish line to begin lap 33. And he has managed to close that gap. It was around 3.5 seconds. And they're on the same age tires. So, could be in for a very late battle here. But Motu Solver starting P16, currently in P2. Stone's throw from P1 with a few laps to go. Could still happen. We've got Cam F1 could be making a move on Poo Lee coming out of turn 2 if he gets the run. Not able to find the traction, but neither does his teammate as he's trying to go up on the outside. A little bit of contact.
Oh.
That was almost both of their races done. And that's going to allow Seb to just get further away as the 2 McLarens contend for P4. That's also going to allow Phantom Fox to potentially close that gap if they keep battling the way they are.
think CJ's regretting picking the wets because the gap between him and Gilmatic's gone up by 3 seconds already since he's boxed for the wets.
I did question it. There is some benefit to it, but I've always been of the opinion that Inters is always the tire to go to when it's wet.
Yeah, even though it might seem slower at first, the dry line will always begin to then the grip and the traction and everything.
Oh, we got Cam F1 and Poo Lee. Once again, battling. They're really fighting for that P4. And much to Phantom Fox's delight, because he's closed that gap. And he's now in the mix for the P4 spot.
F1 has a 13 seconds worth of penalties, I've just noticed.
And he's still fighting for that P4 spot the way he is. And that's going to allow Phantom Fox to potentially sneak by. Cam F1 does get ahead. Now needs to set his sights on Poo Lee. So I'm sure Poo Lee will not be happy at his teammate for that one. Fighting that hard with that significance of penalties. But Cam F1 now making a little bit of contact with the Alpines. They go side by side. Potentially to his teammates' delight, as that gap's now opened up to just over a second. And we should see a move from Motu Solver very soon, but both drivers on fairly similar ERS. Motu Solver fighting valiantly with the car to try and keep it in a straight line. He just doesn't seem to get the exit out of the final corner that he needs. But this is the second to last lap. 7/10 separates P1 and P2. And you can tell that Motu Solver is incredibly keen. Epic the Animal and Jean going at it for that P7 spot. Could potentially still see Phantom Fox make a move on Pootley as he's closed that gap down to 7/10. Motu Solver in contention for the P1 spot with the current champion who's already won the season. I'm a D in the Red Bull. But it should be said, I think if they started evenly on the grid, I think Motu Solver may have had this one. Especially considering Motu Solver's bad luck fighting with the traffic on the way up to P2. Can he get the exit this time around? It seemed cleaner, but it's still around half a tenth. Both drivers with fairly similar ERS. Imadi just seems to have that last corner absolutely nailed. Oh! Whoa. Motu Solver almost losing it there out of the first two corners. And this is the final lap. Epic the Animal and Jean-Claude. Motu Solver doing himself no favors, almost losing the rear end. Seems to be almost once per sec at this point. Imadi, though, looking very composed with slight slippage on his end as well, but nowhere near the severity, it appears, to Motu Solver. And Jean-Claude's out.
Oh my! What's just happened?
I think he's just retired on track. I don't think he hit anything.
I don't know why he do that. It's the last lap of the race. That is definitely confusing.
But Imadi and Motu Solver now coming around the final corner on the final lap. And I don't think Motu Solver's going to have the run. He's looking quick. Both drivers looking very quick. Motu Solver maybe a little bit more speed, but not going to be enough before the start-finish line. And there you have it. Imadi picking up P1. Motu Solver with an absolutely incredible drive picking up P2. Seb with that unfortunate pit lane penalty from when he stayed out trying to accomplish the overcut. will be finishing in P5. Poo Lee takes P3. Phantom Fox in P4. Seb P5. Cam F1 in P6. Epic the Animal in P7 in the Scuderia Ferrari. Just behind him, oh, actually, he's going to be taking P6 because Cam had penalties. Wes, the next across the line for P8. Followed by B29. And just behind him is Kizzy. Just crossed the line. Codematic. Crosses the line, and finally CJ coming out of the final corner, who's had an absolute nightmare this race. Didn't get the qualifying session he wanted, and tire selection was not his friend. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be P1 to I'm a D, P2 to Motu Solver, P3 goes to Poo Lee, P4. I don't recall who P4 was. But there you have your podium. I'm a D, Motu Solver, and Poo Lee here at the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Phantom Fox, P4, that's who it was.
Phantom Fox was P4, and just behind him in P5 was Seb in the Williams. So Kevin Callan in the chat says, what a rainy ass session. Yeah, but it did make it interesting towards the end. A lot of pit lane penalties and those who decided to stay out on the slicks. And your race winner, I'm a D. Fastest lap goes to Jean-Claude, who retired on track. Motu Solver got driver of the day as well as most overtakes, and the cleanest driver was I'm a D. And we'll just go over to the race director, pick up the incidents, of which there are plenty. And then we'll just quickly gloss over the pit stops too. Oh, rainy ass season. Oh, my bad. I thought it was a session. My bad, my bad. Well, they do say that rain is a great leveler. All right, thank you very much. I have been Scones, your commentator this evening. With me in the commentary box was, I just want to make sure I get the name right because I know it's Alfie, but Alfie Hassel was my co-commentator this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. And that wraps up season 24 for TFR in the first tier. And hopefully see you all back for next season. Have a lovely evening. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.